a exponent n over a exponent n. This here is division. The law says that once this is the base, this is the base. You pick one of the bases, then you subtract the powers. Okay? The third law is when you have a base and you have the inner power and you have the outside power. This is the inside power, this is the inner power, this is the outside power. The law says that you multiply both the inner powers and the outside power together, and that will be this. Law 4, the fourth one, it says that when you have a to a exponent negative n, the law says that this minus here will be 1 over a to power what? A to power m. Okay, so by so doing, you've removed the negative exponents. On the right side, you don't have the negative there again. Okay, and this law is reversible. You can have something of this nature and then you turn it like this. For example, now maybe you have 1 over 2. Okay, you can turn this to this form, and that will be 2 what? 2 minus 1. The 1 over is what? Is the exponent, is the power, which is what? Which is minus 1. The fifth law is anything to the power of 0. Any base which is not your a, in this case now, a is not equal to 0. Anything to the power of 0 is what? Is 1. Condition, your base must not be what? Must not be 0. Okay? Another one, you have a fraction, and then all of them to the power of what? N. What this law is saying is that this power is going to affect the numerator, and at the same time, it's going to affect the denominator. So that is that on the law of exponents. Okay, the next thing we want to do now is to look for examples. Okay, look for questions and apply this law. Yeah, we have this question, simplify using this law. Okay, straight to the solution. We have this k to the power 5 times k to the power 2. The bases are the same. The base is k, so you take one of the bases and you multiply. You add the power together. That will be 5 plus 2, and that's k to the power 7, or k exponent 7. Here, the second one, we have the base is 5. Okay, you are multiplying. You take one of the bases, then you add the power together. 2 plus 6. That's what 5 to the power 8. Here also, the bases are the same, which is a d. You take one of the bases, you are multiplying, and then you add the exponents or the powers together, and that will be d to this. Yeah, question 2, simplify using the division law. Okay, and this is the law that we use here. Okay, and the law is a exponent m over a to power n. Give you this one. Take one of the bases. Because you are dividing, you subtract the powers. Here also, without wasting time, the basis is the same. For you to apply the exponent law, the basis must be the same. You pick one of the bases, then you subtract the power. The one on top minus the one at the bottom, and that will be 7 to the power 5. The second one, you have b exponent 7 over b exponent 5. You take one of the bases, then the top power minus the bottom power, and that will be what? B to the power 2. Here also, this is division. And don't forget this over and this sign, they are the same thing. Okay? Your bases are the same. You pick one of the bases, then you subtract the power. And that will be what? 5 to the power what? 9 minus 6, that's 5 to the power 3. Okay? And that will be 125. Then here, your base is m. The bases are the same. You pick one of the bases, then you deduct the powers. The top one minus what? The bottom one. And that will be what? M to the power 6. So that's that on this division law. Yeah, another question we have here is question 3, simplify. Okay? And we took, these are combinations of different laws. Here, this is multiplications. You take one of the bases, then you add the power together. That's 5 plus 7. So that's B12. Here, the second one, this is division law. You take one of the bases, and then you subtract the powers. And then minus 2, that's T to the power 7. Here, you have the inner power, and you have the outside one. So that will be P, the inner power, the inner exponent times the outside exponents, and that will be P times that will be 6 times 3. That will be P what? P in T. The last one here, the bases are the same. You take one of the bases, then you subtract what? The powers. Yeah, the next question we have is simplify 3 to the power 2 times 3 to the power 7 times 3 to the power 4. Okay? Sometimes you can have as many as possible. The base can be many. You can have 1, this is your base, 1, 2, 3. You can even have 4, 5, 6. So what is important is that are the bases, are they the same? If they are the same, you pick one of the bases. That's 1, 2. And you multiply. If it's yes, then you add the power together. And that will be equal to what? 2 plus 7, that's 9, plus 4, that's what? That's 13. And that finish your question. Okay? Write as powers of 2. Okay? The question 1. 8 is something as 2 times 2 times 2. So if you want to write as a power of 2 now, the question is that how many of these do you have? 1, 2, 3. So that will be 2 to the power 3. The second one, 32. 32 will be 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8, times 2, that's 16, times 2, that's 32. That's a 2 to power 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The third one, 64. That will be 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8, times 2, that's 16, times 2, that's 32, times 2, that's 64. Then you count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 2 to the power 6. Then the last one, you want to write as powers of 2. You do the same thing also. 2 times 2, that's 4, times 2, that's 8, times 2, 16, times 2, 32, times 2, 64, times 2, 1, 2, 8. So this is equal to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 to the power 7. And that's that. We also have this question, write as powers of 3. Okay? 9 now is what? We want to write in form of 3. That's the first thing we do. That will be 3 times 3. Then we now write this as power of 3. What that means is that how many of these do you have? You have 3 to the power 2. Okay? This one is simple as 1 over 3 times 3. And that will be equal to what? 1 over 3 to the power 2. Okay? And the final thing to do is to remove this 1 over. And then if you remove 1 over, that will be equal to 3 minus 2. Okay? This 1 over is minus. Okay? Minus to what? The power. Here is what? 3 times 3 times 3. And that's equal to what? 1, 2, 3. 3 in 3 places. Here is 1 over 3 to the power 3. Okay? So remove that 1 over, and that will be equal to 3. 1 over is minus the what? The exponents. Okay? And then here, want to write in power of 3, that will be 3 to the power of 1. Because anything to the power of 1, okay, is what? Is that number. If the base is not equal to what? It is not equal to 0. Anything to power what? Anything to power 1 is that number. Okay? Then here, this is what? Remove this 1 over, and that will be 3 minus 1. Okay? It's 1 is 3 times 3. That's 9 times 3. That's 27 times 3. That's 81. And that's what? 3 to the power 4. And for this one, that will be 1 over 3 to the power 4. Then remove this 1 over, and that will be what? 3 exponents minus 4. So that starts as a power of 3. Okay? That starts as powers of 3. We have these questions, right, as a single power of 2. Okay? Question 1, we have this one, 2 times 2 to power a. So this will be equal to 2, any number has a power of 1, and then times 2 to power a. Okay, the bases are the same. You pick one of the bases and you add the power together. So that one is done. Here, 4 is same thing as 2 to power 2 times what? Times what? Times 2 to power b. So the bases are the same. You pick one of the bases, then you add the power together. Okay. The other one, we have this. 8 is what? 2 to power 3 times 2 to power t, and that's equal to, take one of the bases and 3 plus t. So that's that on that question. Then D, we have 2 to power x, and then times 2. So this will be equal to 2, this power times the outside power, and that will 2 what? 2x. Here, we have the power here is a minus n times minus 1. Okay, you just multiply the powers, the inner powers times the outside power, and that will be 2 to power what? To power n. Okay? Here, you have a division law. You have this to power m, this to power what? So take one of the bases, and then when you are dividing, you subtract the powers, this minus, and don't forget, this is what? This is minus n, and this will give you 2 to power what? 2 to n. Here, this 4, you can write it, before you can apply your law, your rules, the basis must be the same. So 4 is 2 to power 2 all over 2 to power 1 minus this. Apply your division law. So we take one of the bases, and that will be 2 minus. This one is an expression, so you need to open the brackets 1 minus this. Okay? And that will be equal to, this will be equal to 2, so that is the 1, and then minus times minus, that's what? That's plus n. That's that question. Then we go to question H. The bases are the same. You take one of the bases, and then you subtract the powers, x plus 1, and then minus s. X plus 1 minus x. And that will be equal to, this will cancel. You have 2 to power 1. It is what? It is 2.